Hello, everyone. Before we actually get started with the panel, we got the Spanish crew went a little bit over. You know how it is. People go over. But before we get started, just to kind of like ease in a little bit. I mean, congratulations, you guys have been surviving a whole day. It's 2:00, and you guys are surviving. This is awesome. It's great for you guys to be in this environment, and we're learning, we're all growing. But I wanted to do a little bit of an icebreaker before we move forward on this. And this is interesting because you and me, this is my wife.
Yahaira.
No, we're just kind of easing into it. But my wife and I, we're very different people, and it's incredible because it's literally peanut butter and jelly, right? Like it's not all jelly. She is way different than me. Musical taste, food, even activities. Like we just don't see eye to eye on anything. But we love each other, so it's like a miracle. And we love our kids too right now. But just quickly, is there anyone here that hates, and I'm using a very strong word, but I don't want to make a big, or dislikes. Yeah, there you go. So we don't want people fighting right now and then having to come back to another conference. Who dislikes their partners, their soulmates' musical style? Okay, all right. Your hand went up way too fast. You gotta be careful on this one. All right, so what kind of music does your wife love that you just hate? If it's safe to say.
The other way around.
Can you explain? Can you sing some of the stuff? Or
is it more like folk, indie, or you don't even know?
So let's ask your wife. Do you like his style of music? No? Okay, so what does he like? What does Gene like?
He likes some of the country and rock music that I can't stand.
Oh, really? But you guys still? How long you guys been married? 30 years. Congrats. Okay, I saw some other hands over here. All right, Ricky? All right, so you don't tolerate your wife's music?
Some of it.
Okay. What? Okay.
I know a lot of people like R&B.
You don't like R&B? Oh, wow. Who's some of her favorite R&B artists? I don't even know some R&B. Do you know some R&B artists?
Back when I was growing up, but...
There's some McKnight in there somewhere, no? Brian McKnight, there you go. Casey and JoJo. Okay. It just okay. Oh, underground. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, they haven't sold out. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That's my biggest pet peeve with my wife. I hate Spanish rock. Oh, man. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so just a couple more. Just now that you're bringing that up, well, we did the music stuff. What about pet peeves? Just general pet peeves that you have with your wife. Can you share one that you have about me so that you could break the ice? I can take it.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
If I start crying, everyone, Enrique, you're gonna have to take over, bro.
I think one of them is munching, right? That's all. Like he wasn't a big snacker before, but lately he's been a big snacker. And he can't sit down and watch TV without munching. And sometimes I rarely sit next to him to watch TV. I'm always doing something else. But when I do it, I'm just like, can you scoot over? It's like I don't even hear the TV. I just hear the
They're hot Fritos. Like,
they just munch. Yeah, I think that's
okay,
one. That's
turn.
one. Another
my turn. Give me that mic. No, is there another one?
No, there's a few. But I'll
All right. I don't want to share mine. All right. Anybody have a pet peeve that they would be willing? What my pet peeve? Well, this is my pet peeve because we rarely get the time to watch a Netflix show together because we try to watch Netflix and then we just like knock out and go to sleep. So when we're trying to find this, and the only shows that she likes are like these foreign, you have to watch the subtitles because they're like in Italian or in French or Spanish, and I'm just like, babe, can we just watch something in English? And it's just like, and they're like no famous artists. It's just like boring stuff, and she just loves that. And I hate those murder shows that she watches. So anyway, girls are all into like, I'm like, why are you watching this stuff so much? Why are you trying to figure this out so well? But yeah, that's kind of my pet peeve. But all right, now from you guys, anything from you guys? All right. Oh man, you guys are really open. You guys are open book. All right, Luz, what is it?
So when we watch Netflix, especially a movie, he'll ask me to explain what's going on.
So you're a talker in the movie.
Like, so what happened? What is the scene? We're going to go back, and I'm like,
We're watching the
are we
same
watching
thing.
the same thing? What is the half-hour movie?
So you don't want to go to the movies with Ricky? Oh, okay. All right, that's good to know. I hate talkers in movies, man. Like just, and you know what? I feel you too because you had to ask me the same. I'm like, babe, I'm literally finding out the same information at the exact same time with you. Like, yeah, like, but wait, I don't get it. I'm like, all right, well, I haven't watched it. All right, one more from anybody else that's willing to share. Anybody in the back? Anybody? All right, you want to keep it safe? Yeah, right here. Your name, please. Giselle.
I actually like it because sometimes I don't catch something.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes when you tell me, oh yeah, I didn't catch that.
Oh, so you like so that's the good part. That's the positive side. That's cool. Yeah, different perspective.
I can't watch TV without I mean, I could, but I
Yeah.
always prefer subtitles no matter what.
And they get in the face and they get it, and I just like.
But then something happens that you really can't hear, and you read it. You would not have known that if you didn't read it. It's like, it wasn't important anymore.
I didn't need to know that there was a cat in the background. But it's good to know. Like, oh, see, I would have known. All right. Well, it's just fun to kind of like just get to know each other a little bit on that and have that little bit of fun. And today, at this moment, we get a panel. After the panel, we're gonna head back to the auditorium. We're gonna sing together one more time, and then we have one final session here, and then you guys get to go home and enjoy life and relax your Saturday evening. But right now we have an interesting panel. We're going to have some talks and some discussions and some questions about just marriage in general. And it's great because we're going to have two different perspectives on this. So I want you to help me welcome Enrique and Ana Juarez. Come to the front. Give them a round of applause. And for our other perspective, we have... So Enrique and Ana are the empty nesters in the crew up here, and but you guys look a lot. Enrique looks good. You guys are young, so they're the empty nesters. We're the ones with about 100 kids in our home, and or what feels like 100 children. And then help me welcome Carlos and Stephanie, who are the young bucks in the crew. So the young guns are here with no kids. So this is going to be a fun time to interact with one another. And before we get started, just give us a brief introduction. First of all, how long ago did you guys get married?
It's going to be 6 years in April.
6 years in the exact date?
April 13th, 2017.
2017. And what day did you guys get married?
Yeah, it was a Thursday.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys remember. All right, and it was a great privilege because I got to marry Carlos and Stephanie 6 years ago. So yeah, he was one of the guys that was crying on the stage in the altar, and I was trying to talk to him and he wouldn't listen, but he was there. I was there. I experienced that, and so 6 years, going on 6 years, and my friends over here. Brief introduction. How long ago has it been since you guys got married?
Well, this year, is it on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So this year, December 18 will be 25 years.
December 8, 25. Yeah. Wow, that's how. So you guys get to celebrate Christmas and all of that good stuff.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, don't ask us why
Right.
You know, I was just talking to another interesting couple here, and they got married in January. So it's like, what's going on?
Winter.
Why winter?
Pretty
But
cozy.
any major plans for the Big 25? Or is it a surprise? We don't want to spoil anything.
No. Well, not yet, but we would really love to do something.
All
So
right.
we'll let you guys know.
We'll let you.
He was just talking about renewing the vows.
Oh, okay.
But we have to see.
You want to make sure. You're like, if you're gonna do this again, you really want to make sure.
No, it's mostly about the logistics, but
Okay.
not whether I do it or not, whether it's worth it or not. No, it has nothing to do with it.
That's great. It's been so 25 years into the marriage, 6 years into the marriage, and we 14 years into the marriage, right? So we're like all like in the middle, kind of roughly here. And but we want to talk about this because it's different perspectives on what a biblical marriage is. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking and discussing about. If there is time, we would love to open it up for you guys. So if you guys have any questions that you guys want to ask or just talk about, we would love to talk about it and see if we have time to do it. But with that said, let's get right into it. So I kind of prepared you guys a little bit in advance, and I might throw out some shocking questions that I didn't prepare you guys for. But I'll start off easy to just to get the ball rolling and everyone gets to hear the perspectives from both of you guys. I wrote down this phrase that I said it at your wedding. I'm pretty sure I said it at your wedding. I'm not sure if it was said in yours, but it probably was said in yours. And it's this slogan that we always hear: "Till death do us part." Now, as an older, mature couple, 25 years this year, what does that phrase mean to you now?
Okay, so I'm gonna give my wife the opportunity. You want to start?
Okay. So I like the way that you put that word now, because just to clear up, I don't think I need this, right? But
Make
I don't
sure
think
is that on?
I don't think it's on.
Okay. But just because now it means that there was a process, and Oscar touched on it too, that there's a process to get to where we're at. Okay. And now when I think about the words "till death do us part," it means a lifelong commitment, based on that voluntary action that we took before God, before our family, before our friends, where we said, "till death do us part." And it's not based on feelings, not based on emotions, not based on circumstances around us, but on that word. God says in his word that our word is to be a yes or a no, right? And based on that word where we said yes, is that it's a lifelong commitment till either I die, right? Or my husband dies. And then, that's how I see it.
No. Anything you want to add to that, Enrique?
No, really quick. The way I see it also is that until death do us apart, to me, it's like the cherry on the cake. When I marry her, very unreachable. I come from a background where there was no good example of marriage, so to me it was unreachable. Didn't mean anything. But now that I know what it means, I feel like God has prepared us through a journey to get to it. We haven't gotten it there yet, but we're praying that we get there.
Right. And obviously at this stage in the game, I think throughout that process, we always hear this with every couple, like hard work. It's not easy. And like you said, Anita, feelings, it's not just about feelings. At that level in the game, like what does that kind of mean? Like the hard work aspect. If you guys mind sharing anything a little bit about that, because some of us might not know what that actually means. It might just mean for us just fighting all the time. But there's other aspects of the longevity in marriage, which would include this aspect of hard work. What does that mean in the marriage when you get to that level?
You want to go ahead?
So when you think about hard work, I mean, we go back to the fact that we're believers, right? And okay. So in order to achieve a goal, you're going to work at that goal, right? The beauty of it all is that as believers, we're both aiming towards that same goal, and that's honoring God in marriage. You know, worshiping Him with our lives, honoring Him, serving Him, and but it doesn't just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and maybe it'll just fall on me, you know, or a lot of times we hear, oh, we just need that anointing, you know, and it'll just fall on us. No, you know, it means like actually, we've heard it throughout this conference today and yesterday, the importance of being in the Word of God, the importance of abiding in Christ, the importance of seeking. You know, we need to do that. We need to take that step forward to go ahead and start allowing God to build us and show us and teach us and mold us. You know, and in the measure that I am seeking God, then I will be able to turn around and it'll overflow, it'll spill over into my marriage. You know, but it is also like a give and take. You know, we have to work at it because, okay, I mean, everyone knows here, and it's not like, okay, it's 25 years of woohoo bliss, you know. I mean, there's been ups and downs, and sometimes it feels like a roller coaster, and you're like, okay, and you have to get back and centered to what is important, right? To God, honoring God, worshiping God, and our marriage has to be that reflection of the gospel. It has to show that, right? So it's like stopping, and then it's like, okay, no, let's work at it. Okay, where are we? Where are we off? Okay, do I need to ask for forgiveness? Where did I fall short? What do I need to do? You know, and work towards making it better. You know, but is it work? Definitely.
Yep.
But it's a, like I said, it's a lifelong commitment where you're in it, like they say, in it to win it, right? You're in it for the long run, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great, and I love hearing that from a couple that's gone the mileage. Right, this isn't the first 2 years of marriage; it's in the mileage. But now coming to the contrasting side, they're looking for 25 years celebration. You guys are getting there. You know, 6 years, 7 years celebrating. From this perspective now, on you know, almost a kind of brand new. You guys are out of the rookie years. You guys are out of actually that demographic of within 5 years people get divorced. So you've passed it. So it was like, congratulations, you survived. You made it. Where is that phrase to you now? What does that mean to you now at this stage?
Yeah, so I think this is stuck somewhere. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of commitment, but obviously when you look at like the people in front of us and whatnot that have gone through it, we see that there is just so much more work and so much more commitment that it's going to take. I think we've been very blessed with having two sets of parents, like me and my dad and my mom and my in-laws, where I've seen the ups and downs, and I've seen really good examples of what it is to stay together, you know, in midst of situations and issues that may come up, and both of them, you know, being Christians and whatnot. So it's been a very helpful tool for us, where we're able to speak with them and talk with them about just different situations that are coming up here and there. But not just that, just being surrounded by people like you guys that You guys also have your own things that you guys have gone through and overcome, and it just keeps encouraging all of us younger, people, or younger marriages here, that like, although whatever it is we're going through, because we've gone through things, right, can seem so huge in the moment and difficult. Where has everyone else turned? God, the Word. Okay, cool. It's helpful, not so much like that. Oh, okay, so just blindly following that, but no, let's maybe take a break from feeling all emotional and whatnot, and feeling these feelings of anger or frustration or whatever, and okay, let's see what they've all done. They've all pointed us back to the Word, and okay, well, let's see what the Word says. Let's, I don't know, talk about it. Let's pray together. Let's set up a plan, to a plan of attack, right, for these issues. And it's just been very helpful. So when I think of the words "to death do us part," it's a lot of work that we've gone through and we've overcome, but there's so much more work ahead for sure.
You want to add anything, Steph?
I think just because it's been 6 years, but I think after, when you get married and you're talking about it, like, you're not even listening to most of the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I know you guys weren't listening to me at all.
You're like thinking about all these different things that's happening, but and so you're like, yeah, till death do us part, and then after the first year goes by, and it's like all like, oh, and so then like things start to set in, like it's real life like starts to happen, right? Like and then you're like, oh man, till death do us part. Like, wow, this is for real. But like it's a, like what Anna was saying, like it's like, well, no, it's a commitment. I can't just be like, well, Gary McKees, I'm out of here like in the first fight. Like, no, like that's not what we signed up for. This is not what we committed to, is to just, so I think in my perspective, it's also that it's when things come up, that's not a reason to run away. Like, that's not a reason to just quit. Like, it's not, there's nothing that's going to come up that's going to be like, well, I'm out. Like, no, it's when things come up, it's like, but I made this commitment, and marriage is work. It's not easy. It's not, something that is just done on a whim, and, we'll make it somehow without putting no work. Like, no, we have to work at it. We have to go ahead and have conversations, and difficult conversations or awkward conversations. But, it's because we made a commitment. And so through everything, we're going to keep moving forward, and keep seeking God through everything.
And I'm glad, and feel free to jump in on this too. Oh, okay, go ahead.
One thing that so that was part, right? It's not like what he mentioned yesterday, and he mentioned it here today, this morning. It's not a contract. Contracts are like a year contract or a 5-year contract, and let me see hasta how much I could take of this, hasta cuánto aguanto, and then let's change it. We'll get a different kind of contract. It's a pact, totally different. This is like a commitment for life, like he was mentioning. And I have a lot of family members, aunts, uncles that are married, and they've been married for 30 years, but they can't stand each other. So I'm just like, man, I think they're looking forward to the till death do us part, like quick, I don't think that should be our mindset, like till death do us part. It's going to hurt when I don't have my partner, it's going to hurt, but that is the goal, to reach it together. It's a lot of self-sacrifice, like admitting that you're at fault sometimes, like, I know this irks me, this is my pet peeve, but like, I know I have things that bother him too. And like, how can I let the word, mold me into that person that I want to become for myself, of course, but also most importantly for my marriage, I know you guys have grown kids. We have, little kids, and then you guys, they're coming. So it's like, you have to see that your marriage is just not affecting just you. It's not how you feel. It affects the other person's life completely. It's one life together. And then other little lives that come after that. It's like, if you see the big picture, it's like, man, I really have to align myself with the word if I want to make this life worth it. It's not just living it, we had our good times and then go on. No, it's really like till death do us part. Like, how heavy is that word? How heavy is that phrase? So like I mentioned, I see a lot of people that have been married for a long time, but it's like, man, all they're doing is exactly what I don't want, because they don't look forward to the next day together. They don't enjoy life. They don't enjoy their marriage. And I'm like, it's hard, but it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to be a full-time commitment that is for the rest of your life. It's not like, oh, this is temporary. It's forever till you're old, till you're done. So, yeah.
Just making it clear, that's not what you feel. All right, good. All right, just want to make sure. I was a little worried there. But I think what Enrique, you mentioned this, and Carlos, you mentioned this, and you referenced it right now. The importance of models, of having, there's some that don't. You grow up and everyone around you is either divorced, single marriage, single mother, single father, and it's just the pattern of life. And in your case, like, you get to see, in this particular case, a godly version of a marriage, and you get to learn from that. And even though there's things that we would say, well, like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that in marriage, I'm not gonna do that either, but at least you get a good pattern of what it means to have a spiritual model on that. How much, especially as a young couple, and I'm going to get to you guys right now for that, just to go in a little bit more on that. As a young couple, express again that need for models.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And then if you don't have a model, to look for one. Because I do know, every family is very different. Every family goes through its own things. But I think it's very important to have models, simply because you're able to ask a lot of questions that come up, and maybe you just don't know how to handle certain situations, or you don't know if it's going to be like disrespectful, like, hey man, you think I'm just overreacting to things? And these people can help and help guide and just bring clarification on maybe things that I'm feeling in the moment, or things of that nature. And so, like with my parents and with her parents, we talk about marriage quite often. And then sometimes, when Stephanie goes to walk the dog, they'll ask me like very personal questions, and I'm like, oh well, yeah, but it's moments that I've learned to cherish, because I'm able to, just be honest with them. Like, what, like, yeah, I mean, it's been a tough, couple weeks, but hey, like, we've been able to figure it out and things like that. But what do you recommend, right? Things like that. And ultimately, right there, they're a voice in our marriage, and not just with our parents, but even like, some good people, some good friends that we've been able to get around, that ask us constantly about, how our marriage is doing, and like, hey man, I'm noticing this. Is this something that bothers Steph? And it's like, oh, well, I don't know, it's like, well, why don't you talk to her about it, things like that. So it's just, things of that nature that really, really help us out. But also, we all know Ishmael here and Mari. And so how honest they can be about certain things. And they keep it honest with me as well, which I appreciate it. I know, most people don't know my parents, but they're very similar, just the Mexican version of them. And so, yeah, whenever it's about family and whatnot, they keep it really honest with us, really honest with me as, the guy in this relationship. And so it's been very, very helpful. And if you don't have a model, I definitely do recommend finding somebody, whether it's the Juarez or even yourselves, right? People that you guys can look to for advice, for help, and if anything, happens, questions.
And now on this side, where you saw the need of modelship because maybe it wasn't even around, and now at the level of where you guys are at, 25 years marriage, how important is it for you guys to model then and be a model for the next coming generations?
We love it. We love it. We're experiencing it right now. We are we're teaching a marriage class, and we also mentoring some people. But going to the model experience, even myself at the age that I am, I'm 51. Sometimes I feel the need to find a mentor. So because I'm able to identify the areas where I need to grow, and I need someone to mentor me. So the other day I try to think who's the less busy pastor here. No, not that, but because I meet with Henry in group night, so I asked Henry, hey, can I ask you some questions? Can I meet with you on some guidance? So I shared this to tell you that never be afraid to ask for advice, okay? we all need mentorship from someone, and I love it. He's always willing, and I come home and I tell her how much I learned in that area, and but just want to say something really quick on the first 7 years of our marriage was really bad. She was coming from what they call what do you call it? Home that is not a broken home. I was coming from obviously a divorce, broken home as well. So first 7 years very bad. We got to the point where we said, okay, if we want to continue, we need to grab the word divorce and take it out of our vocabulary. No more. Okay, so that was a commitment, literally, that we said no more. We cannot say divorce anymore from there forward. And ever since then, of course, we pray about it. We look for counseling, and ever since then, God has honored that prayer. That no more divorce. I mean, problems, yes, they are, but we figured it out with God's help. We learned to figure it out.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, I look around sometimes. I'm we're preaching from the top, and we see a lot of people, and you could kind of read people where they're like, "Man, I've been married for 40 years. Like, I don't know why I'm in this marriage conference. Like, I already got it figured out. I've gone through it." But to have that spirit and that heart is always important, because we're never going to stop growing, and as children of God, we have a Father that is always willing to feed his children and to help his children at all costs, because we're never going to achieve perfection, especially in marriage. It's never going to happen. I don't think 25 years could do it. I don't think 50 years could do it, but we're just never going to be that perfect person for the couple. But at least we know where the source comes from. Now there's another important question that I wanted to ask you guys on a, coming from a biblical kind of conference that we're talking about, biblical marriage, this concept of servanthood and being servants to one another. It's a interesting dynamic that it's not really mentioned too much in modern marriage. It's more of self-seeking. It's like fulfill your own destiny, your own desires. What is at this stage in the marriage? What does that look like? Servanthood.
So it's interesting also that you say, like, in our world today, right? Where, a lot of young couples or all around us, we're bombarded by the messages of, like, seek your own happiness, right? Like, it's all about you, right? But when we come back to what the Bible teaches us, what God teaches us, it's not about us. And I think that's where our marriage took a turn, where we come to realize that our marriage, well, it was instituted by God, designed by God, but to bring honor to Him. It's not even about us anymore. It's about Him, about God, and lifting His name on high. And when we look at what Christ did, right? I mean, Christ, being the Son of God, comes down for us, and he became a servant, right? Mm-hmm. And that just models to us how we're supposed to be in our marriage, in our relationship, where it's not about me anymore. It's like when we've heard it throughout the conference too, being selfless. It's not about me anymore. It's about looking at the interest of my spouse, looking at what he needs. How do I support my husband in my case, right? How do I help him to grow? What do I need to do to encourage him? And but that doesn't happen if I'm not abiding in Christ, right? I love that what Oscar said. Was it Oscar or one of the speakers? One of the speakers said, wives cannot submit to their husbands if they're not submitted to Christ. Because that's where it starts. our submission to God Himself, to His Word, when we lay down our lives and surrender it to Him, and then say, okay, I'm going to follow you. You know, Christ said, follow me. So we follow Him. And what does that mean? Well, you take like the back seat and you let Christ lead you. And when you do that, then you're able to turn around and then serve your spouse, where it's not about you anymore, but it's about your spouse now. That's how I see it.
Can I add something? When it comes to servanthood, I feel like at least I wouldn't be able to serve outside in a ministry if I'm not able to serve inside my home. So I also feel that God is so sovereign and wise that He prepares you when He gives you a spouse and a family. Because I see myself how when my kids were little, we were serving them all the time, like waiting on them. And I'm like, man, why can't they go and serve themselves? But I find myself bringing the stuff to them.
So it's not only me, brother.
Yes. And I'm like, why am I doing this? And I'm driving them here, driving it everywhere, like I'm a Uber driver, you know.
And you don't get paid.
I don't get paid. And guess what? The funny thing is, they don't thank you. They really don't deserve it. And yet, you do it. So this is God preparing you. Because now, it's just her and I, and of course my two dogs. And I'm even serving the dogs, man, all the time. But I find myself asking her, is there anything you need? Can I bring you something? Can I take you there? Are you good? Things like that, because I'm already being trained to all these years. My kids are no longer there, but here I am, always. And she's asking me, are you okay? Do you need anything? And I'm like, do you need something? It's like, man, without even wanting, God prepare you for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
amazing.
perfect design in marriage. I always said that the cure for narcissism is marriage, and the cure for extreme narcissism is having children, because that'll kill every last bit of narcissism that you have. And so Carlos and Steph on this part, and remember, you could just grab the mic if you want, just rip it out from. In this same aspect, like your culture and your age group and demographic is completely against the words servanthood, the word obedience, submission. Like, these are words that are rarely ever identified in this type of culture of TikTok, Instagram, and all this stuff. At a young age and being a young couple, what does that look like for you guys in the aspect of servanthood? Like, he changed it up on me.
It's tricky because, like the Juarez were saying, it appears like it's a different game now, and not that marriage is a game or anything like that, but the way people think of marriage, and it is still two essentially individuals that are essentially selfish living together. And if something doesn't really click with you, if that's what you want to do, you do it, but I'm going to continue to do my own thing, and we'll go from there. And like it's been mentioned here, a couple times already, it's okay, well, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll have dinner together, we'll live together now, we'll have kids together, all of these different things, but at the end there is no commitment, till death do us part moment, right? And so when it talks about, or when we start talking about obedience and servanthood, those are essentially, words that can trigger young people nowadays. And sometimes we have to be careful, and us being the youth pastors, we see how those words also even affect the young people as well. Like, I don't got to listen to nobody, I'll keep taking USBs, whatever. But, and at the end, it's just more of like, okay, like, what does the Bible really say? And what model does the Bible teach us? And it's that one of Christ and his church. And okay, and what does Ephesians say? Husbands, love your wives. And it's like, oh, okay. Right off the bat, it's not, do this, do that. No, just focus on this loving your wife. Because that, in and of itself, sometimes the simple things are the hardest things to do. And oftentimes, if we're not careful, we start to treat our relationship with our wife almost like one of a pet to a degree. And let me finish here, right? But like, well, how are you doing? How are you guys doing? Oh, well, we're good. Why are we good? Oh, well, because we got a place to live. We got food. We're good. We're set. It's like, well, no, but like, how is our relationship, right? That's how you treat your pets, right? Like, oh yeah, well, I got food for them. I got, shelter for them. I'm taking care of them with the things that I'm providing or I'm giving, but am I really taking care of the person? And do I really understand the person? Do I know the person? Do we even get along? Do we even love each other, right? If something happens to her, like, do I feel it? Do I care about her? Am I just like, oh, okay, well, get better soon, right? I don't know. And things like that. And I think when it comes down to a biblical marriage, it's I feel for her. If she's in pain, like I feel it. If she's happy, I share and rejoice in that as well, and vice versa. And anything that she needs, I do my best to help, right, and vice versa. And we're just working back and forth. And at the end, it's like First Peter says, it's at the end we're both heirs. So it's not like, okay, like we're gonna do our thing and well, it's because it's my thing and your thing. No, it's we're both in this together, and this gift that God has given us with life and eternity and all of that. It's not okay. Well, it's your portion and my portion. No, we're both gonna be a part of this together. Yeah.
Nice. That's great. And Steph, you want to add?
I think just when I understand like now in age, right, how servanthood can be looked at as like, and again, it's going back to, well, this is in reference to a biblical marriage, so not just any marriage, it's a biblical marriage, right? So when we look at servanthood, even with us, or even like with me, right? If I'm serving people in the church, I'm serving people to honor God. And so in the same way, if I'm serving my husband, it's to honor God. And as I honor God, I find joy in that. And so when I serve my husband, it's with joy, not with, I'm doing it because I have to, because the Bible just told me I got to serve you. Like, no, there's a joy that comes with it when I do serve my husband and not expecting anything in return for it. Like, well, I'm going to do this, but you better knock off all these things on my list. Like, no, that's not the intention that you go into when you're talking about servanthood when it comes into a marriage. It's I read the word. What does God say is a biblical marriage? Servanthood is a very big part of it. So I will serve my husband, and in serving my husband, I honor God. And as I honor God, I find joy in that. So when I serve him, I do it with joy as well. And that's just kind of how that goes.
Yeah, that was a tweetable moment right there. That was tweetable.
Yeah, not talking about tweets, right? No, I have I'm saying the way the world, perceives this. I have a high school friend. I have a whole bunch of high school friends on Facebook, and oh my God, they're so lost. And it's heartbreaking to see what they post, what they share. And I think and it was funny because I was sharing the event, and she shared something about, it was a youth pastor that shares, I think he's pretty known. I forgot the name, but it's youth pastor, I don't know, like the Twitter. And it was young woman, seek God, marry a man that seeks God, submit to your husband and raise children. Like 5 steps to look forward to in your older teen years, for the rest of your life. And yeah, it did say submit, and everybody's like, she's like, she wrote something about like, what a joke or something like that. And I was like, no, that's exactly what you should do. I'm over here. Yes. And I was reading whatever everybody else wrote on, like, oh, what a joke. I hate these religious cults, and, things like that. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like they are so against this, because it does, the word just submit, the word just like lower yourself to somebody, serve them. It sounds so bad. But like you do it willingly when it is biblical, like in the same sense. You're not going to joyfully serve somebody when they mistreat you, when they don't love you the way the Bible says it, right? Like husbands, love your wife. women, respect your husbands and serve them. Like it goes hand in hand. Like if he treats me good, I want to treat him good. Like if he loves me right, I want to love him right. So it's, dying to your own desires and dying to like how you think things could go. You could have good intentions, but nothing is going to be better than actually following the word. Actually committing yourself to like, what does the word say I should do? Not what I think I should do, and going based on that. And it's just so sad that people just throw this to the side and they're like, it's just a book. It's just rules that lower women and, put men higher. That is totally not it. And we know that, right? But just really centering us to what the word says and living that out, it's going to be joyful. It's not going to be like you have to do it, like she was mentioning. It's because, man, you want to honor God in every aspect of your life. And one of the main ones when you're married is definitely your marriage, So.
Man, this is good. This is getting really deep, man. We should keep going, but we got a couple minutes left, and I want to talk a little bit more about that because that's very important. Even in the context of Paul, when we read that in Ephesians chapter 5, the servanthood aspect, it's in correlation to how the man submits to Christ. So women in the Christian world, it's not like, women, you have to submit no matter what. It's you're submitting in accordance to how your husband's submitting to Christ. And you're not submitting to a tyrant. You're not called to submit to a tyrant that's mastering over you and conquering you like a piece of territory. You're submitting to someone who's in submission to Christ. And I kind of want to just begin to wrap things up here with that concept. You guys were talking about that. Anita, you mentioned this too about the honor of Christ, and we were talking about honor. And I love what Peter says. He says, likewise, husbands, and this is directly to the husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. And then he says, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. And he's not talking about position-wise. It's talking about the actual physical aspect of it. As the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you. So here's the difference. It's, weaker obviously in a physical sense, but not in positional sense. There is no, the man is superior, women are like down here, men are up here, because both of you are heirs of Christ, of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Here's one thing I'm going to ask the men right here, and I want to make, it's going to get personal now, and I'm going to hope that the women corroborate this with some good evidence. How do you honor your wife? Enrique, how do you honor your wife? So I'm going to get you guys to think about that a little bit. How is it that you show honor? Because we Enrique, you were giving us some good advice on even servanthood, which is basic, but I've learned that it means a lot when you said, call her, hey, I'm on my way home. Is there anything that you need? Because I would never do that. And my wife would be like, oh, you just got back and I needed it. And so now, because I hate going to grocery stores, I hate doing all that stuff. But now it's like, I call her and I'm like, babe, do you need anything? Got my fingers crossed. Do you need anything, babe? No, I'm good. Yes, Lord. All right, let's go. But I mean, those are just some practical ways that you show, that you were talking about, shows servanthood. But what about this concept of honor? Like, what does honor presuppose in the person that you're honoring? So I don't know who wants to go first on that one, but I'm gonna shoot the men at this one. What does honor mean? And we'll see, or how do you honor your wives? And we'll see if Anita and Stephanie are in agreement with that. Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. No, to be very honest with you, with all of you guys, I would have no clue what even honoring someone means if I wouldn't ask God to show me. I think that the more I get to know God, the more He shows me how to do the things that I have no clue how to do. So how do I honor her? How do I bring the light to her? I can tell you that the first thing is when she sees that I'm seeking after God. And what does that even mean? Well, that I'm connecting with God the more that I can. Like praying, reading the Bible, coming to groups, connecting with the pastor, being always in connection with the things of God. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to hear His voice. If you allow other things to come and draw my attention, you know how humans are, and I'm probably one of the worst. So I get distracted really quick. I lose focus. So I try to stay connected. So how do I honor her? Believe it or not, is the byproduct of my relationship with God. So that's established first. Then in His Word and His principles and His statutes, He shows me what is pleasing to her, what can honor her. Like for instance, keeping my promises. For instance, not being a double-minded person. For instance, is never demeaning her with my words, things like that. But where would I learn that? Is only in the Word of God. I wouldn't learn it from Netflix. I wouldn't learn it from a friend telling me that. I would learn it. It's like Jesus Christ told Peter, it was revealed to you by the Father because there was no other way that you couldn't understand that. So that's what I feel. So those are the ways that I feel that she's being honored. Because, like the pastor said before, bringing chocolates, flowers, taking her to the movies, all of those things are very superficial. And they're there today, tomorrow they're not.
No, but yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
Let's. Is that corroborated, Anita? That's-
Some people, I loved it too, that the pastor mentioned, none of these other things are the ones that matter. They're nice gestures, yes. But when you think about it, at the root, the root of it is, as a woman, as a wife, a godly wife, I delight to see my husband seeking after God's heart. It's like there's nothing more than I want than to see my husband serving, having God as a priority, seeking Him through His Word. When I go by and has the Bible open and reading it and studying it, jotting notes, learning and putting PowerPoints together because he loves to do PowerPoints, but all those things, they're such a gift. They mean so much more than the flowers that will die, the candy that's going to go to my hips. But yeah, I agree.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Carlos, you had some time to think.
Yeah. I definitely did. So it's about time. No, I'm just playing. So when I think about honor, what comes to mind is, servanthood is what I do like with my hands, and honor is what's like in my heart and like my position, mindset, where I'm at. And so, obviously the whole thing with making sure that, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a man for God, right? In my scripture reading, in my time with God, in my preparation, and so on and so forth. But also having a high view of my wife. More so like, okay, a man of integrity, a man that's honest, a man that can be trusted, a man that's loyal. That's how, in my head, I honor her. Because like a lot of us know, we're probably one of the younger couples here. But, the getting the flowers and the chocolates and stuff like that, although I struggle with that, those are like what people would consider the easy things to do, right? Oh, you get into a fight with your wife. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just take her out, right? Whatever. I'll figure something out. I'll get some flowers. Forgive me, yada, yada. But am I a man that that Stephanie trusts? Am I a man that Stephanie finds loyal? Am I a man that Stephanie knows how much she values? Like she's a value to me, and so on and so forth. And so it's like that's my way of honoring her is letting her know and reinforcing it with time and with actions and words that she is valuable to me. She is loved by me. She is cared for by me. She is thought of by me, in every situation, whether I'm at home or I'm with the boys or I'm with the youth, or wherever it is I'm at work. No, like I still hold her to a very high view in my life.
That's awesome. That's great. What do you say about that stuff? Is that that's right?
Very good answer.
Yeah, very good answer.
No, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the I think for me, that's the thing that even holds just a lot more security. Like, if I know that I can trust him. If I know he'll never like disrespect me or call me out of my name. Like he has this, and the only way he does it is by having me at high value to make sure that there's always that in our marriage, whether it's good times or whether there's a struggle coming, and so that's one of the things that just helps it feel but just even that much more secure. Like I know he's got me kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's great. And well, I'm glad. Let's give these couples a round of applause today. It was great to listen. I was learning from you guys here. I loved it. And it's just a simple, we ran out of time, but consider the terminology that you even use in your aspect of servanthood, honor. Like, have you ever even talked about within yourself to honor one another? And then another aspect is that honor presupposes that my wife is worthy of it. And those are Christian lingo, that you only use for God at times, but he's given you his image bearer. And so she becomes worthy of me holding her up in high honor. So before we leave today, just remember that your wife, your husband, they're worthy. They're worthy because they're image bearers of Christ. So thank you guys. Thank you, Enrique. Oh,
seconds.
yeah, go for it, brother. Yeah.
Just wanna,
Don't worry. Jump in, brother.
I wouldn't emphasize enough about the marriage classes, guys. It's a team of us. Elias and Kathy are in the back. Guys, wave at us. So it's a team of us teaching on Thursdays at 7. This Thursday, 23rd, is going to start for 10 or 12 weeks consecutive. So if you don't have anything else to do, or if you want to grow more in your marriage, register yourselves in those classes. Elias is going to have the list in back. And really quick, the victories that we feel, or at least I feel that we're living now, believe me, guys, I feel like the story of David, it wasn't that he killed Goliath, the success. It was the journey that he had. Those times alone where he was praising God, when God was correcting him, when he was fighting against the lions, and God was giving him the victory, that it took him to that place. So I feel like that God has done that with us. And he will continue to do, because having said everything that we said, guys, I'm not good at memorizing verses, but there's a verse in 1 Corinthians 10:12 that it says, if you think, for one moment, if you think that you're standing firm, do not fall. So if we ever think that we have achieved anything, we better watch out, because there's an enemy out there. So we cannot lower our guard. Always continue to learn, stick to God, and I hope to see you guys in those classes.
All right, and that starts this Thursday?
Yes, sir.
Coming up?
23rd.
23rd. So hopefully you guys can make it to that. And well, guys, we got about an hour left. We're going to sing some songs together, and then we're going to come right back over here for the last session, and then we're done. So once again, thank you for being here, and thank the couples again.